Good evening. My name is John Madrid, and I am the past president of the UC Santa Cruz Alumni Association. And a proud graduate of the Language Studies program and Oaks College. On behalf of my colleagues on the Alumni Association's Board of Directors, I welcome all of you to our annual Alumni Awards ceremony. This is a signature event that the Alumni Association hosts each year, and we are delighted to have you join us as we recognize 6 esteemed and truly distinguished honorees. Before we begin tonight, I would like to read the UCSC land acknowledgement. The land on which we gather is the unceded territory of the Waswa-speaking UP tribe. The Amamutsin tribal band, comprised of the descendants of indigenous people taken to Mission Santa Cruz in San Juan Bautista during Spanish colonization of the Central Coast, is today working hard to restore traditional stewardship practices on these lands and heal from historical trauma. Well, please continue to enjoy your dinner, and we will return with the awards presentation shortly. Welcome again to the UC Santa Cruz Alumni Association's 2024 Alumni Awards. Tonight, we come together to celebrate the outstanding achievements of 6 members of our university community who exemplify the extraordinary caliber of UC Santa Cruz. I hope you have taken a moment to read our program, which outlines the amazing accomplishments of tonight's honorees. The people gathered here today reflect the diversity and breadth of our university community. Present are alumni, students, faculty, staff, emeriti, retirees, and friends. We're thrilled to have a number of UC Santa Cruz Foundation board members in attendance, representing some of the university's strongest supporters. Please stand so we can acknowledge you. I am especially thankful that so many deans, provosts, and members of the Chancellor's Cabinet have come to support us today. Please stand so that we may acknowledge you. The UC Santa Cruz Alumni Association faces a tremendous challenge in selecting honorees. I would like to thank the association's Alumni Awards Nominations Committee, comprised of past presidents, for taking on this challenge and for recommending this distinguished group. Can you please stand so that we can recognize you for your great efforts? And finally, it is my honor to serve alongside the hardworking volunteer members of the UCSC Alumni Council. Council members, will you please stand and let's thank them for their dedication and contribution to their alma mater. It is now my pleasure to introduce UC Santa Cruz's 11th Chancellor, Cindy Larive. As a first-generation college graduate, a common thread throughout her career has been a commitment to student success, inclusion, and equity. At UC Santa Cruz, Chancellor Larive has prioritized improving retention and graduation rates and eliminating equity gaps for students from groups traditionally underrepresented in higher education. Chancellor Larive is an accomplished bioanalytical chemist and has written extensively on active and experiential learning and mentoring. She has encouraged the participation and success of women and other underrepresented groups in STEM, and has received campus and national awards for her teaching, research, and leadership. Please join me in welcoming Chancellor Lurie.
Well, thanks, John, for that introduction and for all the work that the Alumni Council and the alumni team have done organizing these awards and this evening's lovely celebration of our honorees. Thanks to everybody who's joined us this evening. You know, it's just so nice to gather together and share this meal. And it's really fun, too, because we're so focused on students, to have a chance to come together to celebrate the achievement of our many alumni. And so that's one of the best parts of my job, and I'm really excited to do it here tonight with all of you. UC Santa Cruz continues on a remarkable trajectory. Our faculty, students, and staff are recognized regularly for their transformational research and scholarship. We sit at a unique spot in the spectrum of global universities at the intersection of innovation and social justice. And I think you'll see both of those in tonight's awardees. We're members of the Association of American Universities, the AAU, and the Association of Pacific Rim Universities. These are remarkable achievements that underscore the impact of our research and the quality of our graduate and undergraduate teaching. Equally important is that our campus is designated as a Hispanic serving institution and as an Asian American, Native American, Pacific Islander serving institution, highlighting our commitment to equitable educational access. We're on a trailblazing and world-changing university, and our alumni are at the heart of that. So many of you might have been here when the campus was a little smaller than it is today, and you might be surprised to know that our alumni family is 150,000 people strong. And you and I both know that these alumni are among the greatest problem solvers and positive change makers in the world. The students our university attracts, and this has been the case since our founding 60 years ago, are those bent on making a difference, whether it's through art or activism, engineering or economics, sociology or scientific research. It's important for us to recognize our alumni, as their success is our success, and they're such great role models for our students. The range of awards we're presenting tonight enables us to highlight the remarkably diverse professional journeys and life experiences of our Banana Slug alumni. Our Alumni Achievement Award is given to graduates who are renowned for their distinguished professional achievement, leadership, and service to the community. The Fiat Lux Award honors alumni and friends of UC Santa Cruz who have demonstrated outstanding achievement and distinguished service in support of our programs and goals. Our Outstanding Recent Alumni Award honors alumni who have graduated within the past 10 years and have already made strong impacts in their professions and communities. And the UC Santa Cruz Ethos Award recognizes alumni whose work and contributions to their community embodies the ethos of UCSC, demonstrating a deep commitment to social justice, diversity, equity, and inclusion. So tonight's honorees reflect the incredible range of our graduates. They include a distinguished attorney with a long history of supporting our campus community and our rugby program, a one-time ball boy for the Compton Community College football team, who's decades later would serve as the leader of the institution, an innovator who asked, instead of bringing youth from low-income communities to see Silicon Valley, why don't we bring the Valley to them? An internationally recognized scholar of law, culture, and power who has mentored dozens of graduate students and postdoctoral fellows. An accomplished scientist turned pioneer in diversity and inclusion efforts. And a young communicator demonstrating the power of volunteer-fueled community radio stations. I'm honored to be here tonight to recognize the achievements of these remarkable people who I am deeply proud to call UC Santa Cruz alumni. Please join me in a round of applause, and then we'll get on with the show.
Hello, everybody. Good to see you all. My name is John Pine, and I am the Assistant Vice Chancellor for Alumni Engagement, and I have the pleasure of leading alumni efforts for the 150,000 banana slugs that Cindy mentioned. I am humbled to introduce each of our honorees tonight. So without further ado, let's begin the presentation. Our first award is the Outstanding Recent Alumni Award. This award honors alumni who have graduated within the past 10 years and are recognized for their notable achievements. This year's winner is applauded for her extraordinary professional achievements and her significant contributions to her community as the founder and station manager of Humboldt Hot Air, a radio station and grassroots community hub. We've created short videos about each of our Alumni Award honorees so that we can hear from them and those who know them and their great work. Please enjoy learning more about our first honoree, Neroli Devaney.
Yeah, so I'm excited to announce that the Outstanding Recent Alumni Award goes to Neroli Devaney. She's very interested in her own background and highlighting the voices of those who are not always heard in radio. I'm so excited that she's taking what she learned at UCSC and applying it in important ways.
This button right here takes the whole station offline. Cool. So don't press that one. So my dad was a DJ. He did a very experimental show that was like layering a ton of stuff on top of each other, but it was very popular in the community, and he did it for so many, many years. Community radio was something that I think as a child was like I already saw value in. When I went to UCSC, KZSC had an open house. I got in right off the bat.
Neroli was first a volunteer and then a member of the governing board as our hip-hop director and, founder of the Queen Beats show, which shines a light on femme artists in hip-hop.
You're tuned in to KZSC Santa Cruz. You're listening to Queen Beats. We're playing all women in hip-hop tonight until midnight.
In KZSC Nature wanted to, give a platform to the underrepresented, and so I was like, what if I do women in hip-hop? It was such an awesome time to get to do that. I was exposing, hopefully the Santa Cruz people to all these new artists.
That still casts a wake behind it in that the show is still active as a collective, and since its founding, it's always been on our schedule.
Studio. And then that's, I guess, the continuing article. And this is when we very first started. Sociology is an interesting degree where you're kind of using it all the time. Like, I feel that I use it in my day-to-day navigating the world, but at the same time I am using my time at KZSC hardcore. But this was when we first started Humboldt Hot Air, we were right through this blocked off walkway here. And the goal of Humboldt Hot Air is to reach little corners of the community and bring us into one big space together. It's just fun, and it's fun to share your music. So then for the DJs, something that I've loved about doing Humboldt Hot Air is we're really accessible.
That's why Humboldt Hot Air is so important. I'm DJ Jackalope. This is the Alt Campground.
Which is why we've been able to acquire over 60 volunteer DJs doing totally different things.
Heard a couple songs that, more or less have something to do with what could go on pizza. But when it comes to pizza...
And I feel so happy to be back in Humboldt. It feels really special. A lot of the people that are DJs here on Humboldt Hot Air were friends of my dad's. I get to be, putting on events and doing things with them and sort of serving the community that raised me.
Dan and Greg, also known as Vinny. the hospital at St. Joe's Hospital.
I'm just
Yeah.
goofy.
Oh, sorry.
I noticed it. And now,
They were awesome.
now she's
They
my
were awesome.
station manager. That's perfect.
Traffic jam. Okay. I think you. Yeah, give me an unpacker
I
pen.
assume Leo is just fine.
Please join me in welcoming to the podium Neroli Devaney.
Thank you so much. It really means a lot to me for this work that I'm doing to be recognized by such a distinguished institution like UC Santa Cruz. I really never expected it, so it really means a lot to me to be here tonight. First off, I want to thank Kavya, who's sitting over there, waving. Kavya was actually my co-host for Queen Beats. I only did it myself for a quarter, and then Kavya and I really held it down together. So, similarly to Queen Beats, Humboldt Hot Air was definitely has been and continues to be a community effort. It really, to me, represents the power of community, and it's just been really special to see how people have all come and teamed up to really make Humboldt Hot Air what it is. I feel so lucky to be guiding the ship, but there's a lot of other people on board as well. If you feel inspired by this story, I guess the takeaway I would love for folks in the room tonight to have is please invest in grassroots community radio. I think that today, in 2024, about 30% of Americans say that they trust the media. And if you want to tune into radio in your car where you feel that what you're hearing is true and it's coming from a real human being and that stories are being told by your community and not for your community, you gotta invest in grassroots community radio. Humboldt Hot Air and KZSC are amazing representations, not only of just amazing grassroots radio, but also that the youth is invested and the youth is excited and motivated to bring you that content of a future that we all deserve. So when you invest in grassroots community radio, you invest in the youth, you invest in our future, and you invest in democracy. So thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Neroli. Our next award is the UCSC Ethos Award. This award recognizes UC Santa Cruz alumni whose work and contribution to their community embodies and reflects the ethos of UC Santa Cruz. The award is given to alumni who embrace diversity, strive for an inclusive community, and encourage the free exchange of ideas. This year's recipient embodies the banana slug spirit and expresses it through his work at Genentech. Please make sure to read more about Paul in your programs, but unfortunately, Paul was unable to join us tonight. I know, Paul. He will accept his award at a future celebration at Genentech, and we will debut his video at that program. I'm honored and delighted that several of Paul's Genentech colleagues are here. Will you please stand and be recognized? Thank you so much. We're so honored that you joined us. Our next award is the Distinguished Graduate Alumni Award. This award recognizes UC Santa Cruz graduate alumni for notable achievements in a career directly related to their degree program. This year's recipient is an internationally recognized socio-legal scholar of law, culture, and power. Please enjoy learning more about our next honoree, Dr. Kamari Maxine Clarke.
Many people like me who decided to
attend UCSC in many ways wanted something different. Moving out west meant that I had to orient to a different lifestyle and also different conversations. Conversations about identity, about power, about postmodernism, about queer theory. One of the things that really brought us together as intellectuals and as thinkers was the desire for a fresh way to think through complex social problems. In anthropology, there were a whole range of people working on work that I was, so Carolyn Martin Shaw, Lisa Rofel, Anna Singh, Susan Harding, Angela Davis, James Clifford, as well as Donna Haraway. So many of them not only contributed to the field and shaping anthropology, but were really central in the ways that I sought to develop my own work on law, culture, and power.
What's really interesting about her research is that she's an interdisciplinary scholar, bringing together fields like criminology and the law with the politics of race, with questions around international justice. And when she marries these three different areas, she finds new ways to think about what's going on in the real world.
Well, so much of my work is about how the past and the imbrications of power that are often invisible actually serve to create these conditions of inequality and structural inequality.
Her research really is at the core of our problems right now in the society, to really see and accept and respect the differences, to think about equality, what it means in daily life and what it means in law. And I do believe that she is really at the intersection of a new way of bringing anthropology in modern discourse about the problems we are all facing nowadays and what we are seeing every day on TV.
I mean, one of the most profound moment was sitting in a classroom with Haraway and realizing that she doesn't know everything and that she doesn't pretend to, and she's not embarrassed by that this journey is really about asking questions, revising those questions, even amending and having humility about what we know and what we think we know. One arena that's important, because I'm still a professor, is my approach to pedagogy. How we learn, how we teach, the mutual and equal relationships in the classroom are things that I brought with me from UCSC. I think it's important to recognize that there are ways that academics and anthropologists and legal scholars can have an impact in thinking about cultural complexity and working towards social change.
Please join me in welcoming to the podium Dr. Kamari Maxine Clarke.
Okay, this is the first time we're all seeing these videos as well. So and I think many of the awardees were waiting to say, to see what we said and how it was depicted. But I approve, so it's fine to put it on YouTube. So thank you to the videographers and to everyone that made that happen. I know it was a significant amount of work. It's really wonderful to be back at UCSC in the Redwoods to receive this distinguished Alumni Award, and I'm deeply honored and grateful and ever so appreciative. This recognition holds a special place in my heart as it marks the beginning of my own transformational journey that began at UCSC during my Ph.D. studies here. When I started the Ph.D. program, had already gained a reputation for its focus on culture and power, and during my years, and as well as after them, it was one of the key fulcrums in critical rethinking of the field. And of course, today the world is a different place since I arrived here from Toronto and via New York in 1993 to begin my graduate work. And as a grad student, I, like so many others, traveled far and wide to join this amazing group of cutting-edge scholars. And now, some 30 years later, the program in so many ways has contributed significantly to interrogating what anthropology is and can be, and I am truly honored to have been a beneficiary of the reshaping of a field in transition. I still remember the September weekend that we drove across the country for 3 days, 3,000 miles, with my possessions in the back of my gray, square-back Jeep Cherokee. You know, back in the day, you know, the Jeep Cherokee, but yeah, these days, of course, I probably wouldn't drive it without my kids hiding and not having people say, oh, look, they're driving this square Jeep Cherokee. But back then, all my things were in the back of the car, including my Steve Jobs Apple Macintosh computer. Many of you remember that. And the larger-than-life Bell cellular phones. You remember 1993, those Bell phones with the battery that was as big as the phone, and of course with the monthly roaming bill, which was as big as the phone and the battery. And of course, that was that moment, 1993, when I arrived, and so much has changed since that moment in our world, in the ways that we think about our world. I'd like to really thank my esteemed professors and mentors for their guidance over the years, the many years, their wisdom and unwavering support that shaped and enriched the foundation of certainly my academic path and so many others. I offer deep appreciation, despite the stories that we told over, over drinks an hour ago about the title of my dissertation, which we still have a disagreement on. Despite that, really, it's with deep appreciation that I'd like to thank Carolyn Martin Shaw, the bedrock of my scholarship, a phenomenal thinker and mentor, and now a true friend. And also a special thank you to the other faculty members who served on my committee during the years that I was here: Dawn Brennis, Lisa Rofel, Steve Caton, Angela Davis, and then the many others who mentored and engaged me throughout that period: Sherry Ellington, Loki Pandey, Susan Harding, Donna Haraway, David Schneider, Jim Clifford, Jackie Nassie Brown, Anna Singh, Nancy Chen, who is also here. Thank you, Nancy. A heartfelt thank you. And so in many ways, I became a socio-legal anthropologist of transnational social change because of my journey here at UCSC, and I'll be forever indebted to its faculty. I'd also like to thank my classmates and the community friends. Your encouragement and care have sustained me through the challenges and the triumphs of graduate school and well into the difficult years, the difficult career-building years. I thank you, and one of my dear friends, my best friend during that period, is here, Ellen Farmer. Sadly, during those years, we lost some dear friends and colleagues far too early, and of course their memory lives on. Others became trusted colleagues and have remained dear friends, and I'm grateful for the love and support that continues to sustain me today from those friendships and so much more. And then I just want to end by saying thank you to the unsung heroes, the phenomenal, phenomenal staff, from the people who cleaned our bathrooms, our restrooms, to the people who worked at the front desk, to those who made sure that the visa paperwork got there in time, that were committed and invested in faculty success as well as student success on campus and beyond. So thank you. I have wonderful stories about some of the staff in anthropology, in Social Science 1, and so thank you to them. This award is really to the collective support and nurturing environment that the department and its networks fostered. Thank you for the incredible honor. I'm deeply humbled and appreciative, and a special shout out and thank you to the phenomenal work that Barbara Oden the head of UCSC Alumni Office has done. I have never seen such phenomenal management from the moment she reached out 6 weeks ago with the surprise of this award to this moment, and even, 2 hours ago or 5 hours ago when we landed at the San Francisco airport. Really, thank you that you carried us along the way in so many ways, and your team. I've never seen such a well-done event, and the kind of coordination and the type of work. Thank you for that. It brings back many of the great memories. I'm appreciative and looking forward to the follow-up conversations. Thanks, everyone.
Now, as Barbara's boss, I'm going to check. Was that a plant, Barbara? Did you ask her to? No, I'm kidding. No doubt. Barbara is incredible. All right, our next award is the Alumni Achievement Award. This award is presented to UC Santa Cruz graduates renowned for their distinguished personal achievement, leadership, and service to the community. The alumni receiving this award have made a positive impact on the lives of others and are recognized for their longevity and consistency of accomplishments over their professional lifetime. This year, we are presenting this award to two alumni, Dr. Keith Curry and Jacob Martinez, who are both highly regarded for their professional achievements and contributions to society. Our first Alumni Achievement Award recipient of the night is President of Compton College and CEO of the Compton Community College District, recognized for his leadership in higher education, particularly in advancing equity and community college transformation. Please enjoy learning more about our next honoree, Dr. Keith Curry.
My idea is like, how do you get more Black and Latino and Asian Pacific Islanders in these spaces where they could be able to see college and see it differently? And they come back one day and be like, this is what Dr. Curry did. I could do the same thing. So this is your first year here?
Yes.
So what made you come to college?
My wife.
Okay.
My wife talked, I talked her into going back, and then she talked me into going back.
She's here too?
Yes, she's in cosmetology. We're doing it because none of our adult children has gone to college yet, so we're like, all right, we can do it. Y'all know it's never too late.
Most people in this business would say, oh, you overwork yourself. But a lot of times when you think about student success, like our students deserve better, not only at Compton College, but also throughout the state. And so when you're in these positions, you better give it all you have because you might not get another opportunity.
He thinks about student success and student achievement in a way that doesn't just put data points behind large populations. His motto, I think, is every student is a success story, and that is such a compelling way to think about how we need to all support students as individuals.
I want to change the narrative of the perception of Compton. I want to change the narrative of the perception of leadership and how you can actually transform organizations to meet the needs of students. So this is my walk that I usually do every day, and this is where I do a lot of my freedom dreaming. And freedom dreaming for me is like come up with ideas of what's next and what's possible. I just amazed, like we did this building, we did that building, with that building. It's a brand new campus and you have a lot of pride when I see it. So we're about to walk into space where housing is going to be offered. And the goal is to build eventually 500 beds. When I come here, I just think about there's going to be housing right here on campus for Compton College students. And that's Christine, she works on EOPS. She's our director of EOPS and care. They're celebrating their 55th year.
He knows everyone. When you talk to Keith, you feel like you're talking to your best friend. He can make you feel like you're friends from the first moment you meet him.
You going to farmer's market?
Yes.
You going right now?
Right now.
I'll be over there.
Okay.
You see you later. Students, they don't miss the farmer's market. So we offer $20 for students to be able to go to the farmer's market. All they do is show their ID. You go to the cafeteria for your free meal, you show your ID. So there's no like, oh, I can afford it, I can get another. It's like, I'm proud of what I got. It's a different feeling. Next, we're coming to college and continue to grow the enrollment of students on our campus, continue to build new buildings on campus, be the first community college in LA County with student housing, and continue to stay focused on students and student success. One thing I learned in my whole life is like, I have ideas and I just know that I can execute it. And I don't know how, right? Whatever it is, but for some reason, my ideas, I believe I can execute anything. Anything.
Keith is an inspirational leader, role model, and mentor. His dedication to empowering students and communities epitomizes the spirit of this award.
I want to say we're going to do all we can for students and go all in. So when my career is said and done, you can't say I left anything on the table. I just kept pushing, and that's my goal.
Please welcome to the podium Dr. Keith Curry.
Good evening. Let's try this again. Good evening. Good evening. It's supposed to be a party, right? First of all, I'd like to say thank you for receiving this award this evening. I was in Seattle this past week for a conference, and I was rushing back today on a Delta flight to make sure I made it here before this event. And then tomorrow I have to be in Tehachapi. One of my closest friends, Benito Murguia, his father passed away. And so I have to make sure I leave here tomorrow at 4 o'clock in the morning to make sure I'm at the funeral service at 9:30 a.m. And I bring this story up because a lot of times when you're in leadership, we don't talk about the other stuff you have to do, personal life and also professional life, in order for things to continue to happen. I'm lucky and I'm blessed enough to have a wife and also my son, Camilo Ali Curry. He might be asked for residuals because I said his name in the speech, who will support me and hold me down, but also my friends, not only Benito, but also I have Everett Cleveland, who's here today, and then also Bill Casher, who is one of my closest friends in the whole wide world, who's also here as well, is that this stuff is hard. I receive a lot of awards, but at the end of the day, people don't understand how hard this work is. You have critics who look like you, who say you're not good enough. You have other individuals who don't look like you, who say you're not good enough. But at the end of the day, you have students who are black and brown in your community who don't have enough. And they look at you as a person that's going to save them and also save their community. So how do you do that? You remain focused and dedicated to the students that you serve within your community. I consider myself a local success story. Why do I say a local success story? Because I had an opportunity to go that other way, but I did not, right? I had individuals who supported me along the way to ensure that I was successful. And at UC Santa Cruz, one of those individuals was Ed Lane, who was my American Studies 100 instructor. And after that experience, I took every single class that Ed Lane taught in American Studies. Because she allowed me to write about stuff that I wanted to write about. She allowed me to use hip-hop lyrics as titles for my papers that I wrote. She allowed me to be unapologetic, even though I didn't know the term at that time. Fast forward to 2020, when I had a pulmonary embolism, almost died, my son was the one that saved my life. And at that moment, it was the rise of an unapologetic leader. But I became unapologetic again because I read the papers that I wrote when I was in Ed Lane's courses. If you look at my writing now, you can see all hip-hop lyrics. That's because of my experience at UC Santa Cruz and American Studies 100. I never forget where I came from as it relates to academic, but it all started here at UC Santa Cruz. But without UC Santa Cruz, I would not be where I'm at today, but also without the people that I met at UC Santa Cruz, I would not be here. My friends at UC Santa Cruz are the reason why I know I will continue to be successful. When they call me, they build me up, but they also can criticize me if I made a mistake. But at the end of the day, we're all friends. We always say, I love you. You don't have those type of friends in your life, right? And individuals who look like you, who are able to say as adults that I love you because of who you are. So fast forward to the future, what does it look like for me? I don't even know. I get this question all the time. Dr. Curry, you have accomplished everything. What is next? And I say, you ask me what is next because you want to know what the rumor is of where I'm going in my professional career. But at the end of the day, I don't even know. And you know what? That's okay. That's okay to be a leader at 47 years old, work in the community that you're from, and be able to say, I don't know what I want to do next. But you know what? I enjoy what I'm doing right now. So please let me enjoy this moment as a college president, and don't ask me what I want to do next, because at the end of the day, I have students within my community who need those services that we provide. And that's okay to be able to say, I don't know what I want to do. But also, I enjoy what I do as a community college administrator. I enjoy seeing students on my campus and having a conversation with those students about their success. I enjoy talking to students about my experience at UC Santa Cruz. As the previous speaker mentioned at the end about the thank yous, there's so many people I can thank that were not professors at UC Santa Cruz. There was the lady that worked at the guard at the entrance towards Oaks. When there was days I should not have been allowed back into campus at that time. Who did not ask me for my ID, all I had to do was go like this, and she made sure I was back on campus. That's right, right? But those types of individuals, or the person that worked in college aid cafeteria where they know dang well then I have an ID little sticker on there to be able to eat in the cafeteria, but that's when I knew I had housing and food insecurity, but they made sure that I was able to get in and get a free meal. Or the bus drivers who took you on the shopper shuttle when you had to go down to get groceries. Or someone that had a fake ID, we can be able to get liquor. Let's keep it real, that's how it was, right? But they didn't ask you when you got back on the shopper shuttle how you got the liquor. Right? But they made sure you got back to your apartment at that time, right? But also thank you to the people that work at the front desk in many of those offices, because you know you have some people who are rude, but the people at the front desk, when they see you, they be like, you know, I'm glad that you're here, and if that person was rude to you, you know what, I love you still, right? But those individuals, a lot of times we don't recognize them for their work. Someone said 90% of the stuff that you learn in college, you learn outside the classroom. 10% you learn inside the classroom. I truly believe that. But that 90% of my experience at UC Santa Cruz was based off those people who showed me they loved me, was based off my friends, and also was based off of Ann Lane. So I'm truly blessed to say thank you for this award. And I'm a proud alumni of UC Santa Cruz. And I want to say to anyone that's thinking about going to college, the University of California is the supreme educational institution in the country. But we have to make sure that the supreme educational institution in the country, make sure that the diversity is reflected at the institutions that we serve. We have to make sure that black and brown individuals within our communities have the opportunity to go to the University of California, not just for undergraduate, but also for graduate school. That they don't have to be worried about housing and food insecurity. They're able to be at the community at University of California and be able to say, I'm a proud student, but also I'm a proud graduate. We have to commit now to making sure that we serve those students. Because if not, we're going to forget about the next 20 or 30 years. So my charge to you, that's everybody that's in this room, is to make sure that the University of California reflects the demographics of the state of California and make sure students feel welcome, appreciated, and valued, and there's a sense of belonging. If we don't do that, we have failed. Thank you very much.
Our next Alumni Achievement Award recipient is the founder of Digital Nest, an organization that supports underserved Latinx youth in California with the skills, resources, and network to build and launch successful careers. And on a personal note, Jacob was one of the first alumni I met when I came to this job, because the day I got here, everyone said, you gotta meet Jacob. And you were one of the first meetings I had, so I wanted to share that. Let's enjoy learning a little bit more about our next honoree, Jacob Martinez.
If you are a person that lives in privilege, you'll often find somebody in your school will respond to your curiosity with excitement and with opportunity. But students who aren't privileged don't always get that kind of response. A place like Digital Nest, it really is there to start that basic drive that we have as human beings in the world to really channel that creativity into a career that's fulfilling.
Our proximity to Silicon Valley is putting a lot of strain on our communities, putting a lot of strain on our families and on our young people. They can't afford to live here, they can't find jobs. Even though just 45 minutes, an hour up the street are some of the best paying jobs in the world. And I thought to myself, what if I was to create a co-working space for young people that resembles tech campuses with all the resources and investing in young people the way Silicon Valley invests in their employees, meaning giving them the best centers, the best technology, the best education, the best training, the best network. Kind of launched this idea of the Nest and it kind of took off. Since then, we've expanded to Gilroy, Salinas, Modesto, and this December we'll be opening up our 5th location in Stockton. We have a lot of people that are graduating from college, a lot of young people that are not in college but they need to work, that can't find that first year experience. And so our internship program is designed to do that. It's designed to get young people in here for up to 20 hours a week, pay them for their time. They have to meet deadlines, they have to use technology to manage their projects and their time and communicate with each other. They go through trainings, they get certifications, so all those things that you need as professionals. And then we also give them client work to help build their portfolio.
Jacob is providing those students a future where they maybe don't see one. And then what impact those young people will have on their community. It can become catalytic. And that's what I think Jacob sees as the real power of the Digital Nest.
I work with the Chancellor pretty closely on how do we get this community to see the university as a resource. One of the programs that the Chancellor and I launched is the Journey to Learning program. We invite community members to come onto campus for a day, and we introduce them to different faculty, to different students and different projects on campus, and vice versa. How do we get the campus to see the community as a resource as well?
You don't have to start out ahead to get ahead, right? That intelligence and creativity and ability is everywhere.
We have young people now that are in their late 20s, or even some in their 30s, because they started with me when they were 20 years old and now they're 30 years old. So it's just amazing to see these young people now no longer young and in careers and buying homes, starting families, and they still live here. They don't have to leave.
I am so proud that Jacob, as a UC Santa Cruz alumnus, is living out our principles of community and devoting his life to improving the lives of others.
Please welcome Jacob Martinez.
I think it's in the program that I'm a biology major. And so the fact that Keith said you remember about 10%, 10%'s in the classroom, 90% outside of the classroom. I'm like 1% in the classroom. I couldn't tell you how a cell is made up anymore. Like, that's just gone. Even though I lived up on Science Hill day after day after day trying to make it as a transfer student here on campus. But the trajectory, the journey of my career started on this campus. And in fact, started a little bit off campus. I was working at Falafel of Santa Cruz, where I was making falafel pie for many of you and French fries. I still made the best French fries from what I've heard. But I learned there from Sam, who's the current owner, still owner, about managing people and about trusting people and about caring about people that work for you. And even to this day, you'll go in there and you'll see pictures of all the former employees, and you'll see a picture of me up there still with my 2 boys who are now adults now. So we're up there. And I really learned from him to really care about your employees. And then I landed a job up at UC Santa Cruz, and I walked into a lab and I knocked on a door because I heard there was lizards in that room, and I was into lizards. I wanted to be a herpetologist, and there was a professor, Barry Sonervo, who opened the door. And I said, hey, I'm looking for an internship or an opportunity, a lab experience. And he says, great, we're always looking for somebody to clean cages. So I cleaned lizard poop and snake poop, but that led, he saw my work ethic and he saw me working there, that led to me running the lab. And I used to manage all the graduate students as an undergraduate. And I know that pissed off a lot of graduate students. This undergrad was telling them what to do. But I worked for Barry and I got paid by Barry. Barry, I remember in January 21, he wrote me saying, I'm really proud of you. I still remember all your work in the lizard lab, and that he was fighting cancer, and 2 months later he passed away. But that's how much he meant to me, and that knowing that he was still looking at me and looking at I've already launched the nest at this point, but he was still watching me from afar and cheering me on. That job led to me, at that time, I mentioned I was a transfer student, so I was engaged to my now wife, and making no money in the lizard lab. So I started asking around campus if they knew of any jobs, and this was my last semester here on campus. And a woman by the name of Bernice Frankel had a job being an admin assistant for the Market MBRS program. At this point in my journey, I was sure I was going to go get my Ph.D. and become a herpetologist, but I found myself working the front desk of a diversity program trying to get more students of color in STEM. And I found myself counseling students coming into the office saying, I don't belong, I don't have the math skills, I can't get into a lab, I don't know what I'm doing here, and I found myself counseling. And that's where I found my true passion of working with students and helping them believe that they could do this. And trying to figure out, how do I bring opportunities to these young people? And how do I make them feel privileged? Because so many of our young people of color don't feel privileged. So that's where my career started off. It then ended up getting hired by Adrian Horrell, who still works on the campus, to go work out in Watsonville and try to get more students in middle school and high school to believe that they could make it to the university and pursue STEM. It was through that work that I met a former UCSC graduate student, Jill Denner, who got an NSF project to work with young women in technology in middle school. And she said, Jacob, I heard about your work in Watsonville. Will you come run this program for me? So that was in 2005, and I ended up 2006, and I ended up working for Jill for 8 years, running NSF projects, doing research out in the community. And again, seeing all these young people who didn't believe that they belonged and didn't have the privilege that existed just right over the hill in San Jose and Santa Clara. And it was at that moment where I was talking with my wife and I was struggling with this idea of these kids still struggling after all these years. And then in 2013, I thought, what if I could bring Silicon Valley to us? And like in the video, what if I could invest in young people the way Silicon Valley invests in their employees, giving them the very best? And it was at that moment that I launched the Nest. And in 2014, kind of went public with it, started talking with folks. And one of the first people that I thought of was she was a student that I worked with years before, Yasmin, who I reached out to, and I said, Yasmin, I got this idea, will you come work for me? Again, that connection to the campus. I kept looking to this campus for those resources. And Yasmin joined me on that journey. She's still with me to this day. And 10 years later, we're celebrating our 10 years this year. She's still working with me. About a year later, I get this email from this random UCSC student in her senior year. And she says, hey, will you come I'm from Watsonville. Will you come speak to my class? And I met Jimena. And I came up to campus, gave a talk, and she walked me out to her car. And I said, what are you going to do after you graduate? And she goes, I don't know, I might work in San Jose or something. And I said, no, you're going to come work for me. And she ended up coming to work for me as an AmeriCorps, and now she's still with me, probably 7 years later now. So it's always kind of rooted in the campus and the connections I had and the opportunities. And to this day, that's very much rooted in my work that I do in this campus. One of the things I'm most proud of is we've expanded a lot, we've grown, we've made it 10 years. A lot of nonprofits don't make it 10 years. But we have all these undergraduate interns that are working for us, a lot of them from UCSC that are in Watsonville working for us, getting paid, this is their first job. So even to this day, trying to reach back to this campus, because the talent is here. And people don't think the talent is here, but we know the talent is here. And so I'm really, really proud. We're celebrating our 10 years now. As it is hard, This work is hard. And we were just reflecting this morning at an all-staff meeting about how hard it is, right? And how struggle it is. It's been hard for 10 years, keeping this thing going. And, should we keep going? Oh my gosh, it's just that constant struggle. But I think about all those young people that still don't even know that we exist. And there are still many communities around this country that don't believe that they belong. And so I am pushing, and I push the team. Some of my colleagues are here. We push each other because there are a lot of young people that don't feel like they belong and don't believe that they have the resources and the network to belong. So that's our goal. So we're super proud. None of this couldn't be possible without my wife and my family. I remember my boys at the time were 4 and 5. No, were they that? No, they're older than that. 10 years ago. They're 11 and 10. They're 11 and 10. And I remember my daughter was younger, so she wasn't there. Well, she was probably in our lap. But the boys, I remember we sitting them down saying, hey, Daddy's got an idea, and it's going to take a lot, and I'm going to be gone a lot. But, this is important. And I remember sitting on the boys and getting their permission with my wife. So I'm super proud of the work that we've accomplished. I'm thankful for my team and my friends that have supported me. Thank you to all of you. These things mean a lot. Just like we try to bring respect to our young people, when we try to show them that they matter, awards like this help us. Because very few people of color lead nonprofits. And very few dollars go to people of color that lead nonprofits. So these things help. And so thank you for this recognition. Thank you to the friendship, Cindy. It's been an honor working with you. And again, thank you, everyone.
And last, but certainly not least, is our night's final award, the Fiat Lux Award. Honors UC Santa Cruz alumni and friends who have demonstrated outstanding achievement and distinguished service in support of the university's programs and goals. This year's recipient, a lawyer, an occasional journalist, and longtime supporter of UC Santa Cruz, whose contributions have improved academic, athletic, and campus life. Please enjoy learning more about our final awardee, George Kraw.
George talks really passionately about what he owes the university, that the career that he's managed to build for himself, the success comes from that learning that he did here. It always comes through completely when I'm talking with him about that sense of gratitude and therefore that desire he has to see if he can make any impact on the students today.
I'm a lawyer, but I'm the type of lawyer that I am because of my education here. He gave me a sense of independence and agency, an ability to act on my own, that I think was more important than actually anything I learned in law school. I mean, I have these great memories of what happened almost 60 years ago now. But my concern is what's going to happen during the next 60 years or the next 100 years.
He's always saying, okay, make the case that this is going to have a longer impact, this is going to have a bigger impact. And then he works us through how to make that pitch, right? Is this actually what they need? How are we going to make this work for other people?
My first significant gift, that was probably the rugby lights. I had a conversation with the coach. The team looks very good. It's certainly much better than what we were playing. What will it take to bring this to the next level? And he told me, well, we need to have practice time. And we're having a great difficulty doing it because the fields are constantly being used. But if we had some lights, we could practice at night. And I said, well, I can do that. Next year they beat Stanford. So that was very rewarding.
And then, what else do you have? And I said, well, we've got this leadership program and it's really effective, particularly with first gen underrepresented students. Here's the data that we've got for that. These are people who, we're not just trying to retain, we're trying to make sure they succeed at the university. And this is a program that is really having a big impact for them. And so George said, okay, that's another one.
He has supported our Genomics Institute, pediatric cancer. He's also helped to rebuild our Corey Amphitheater. He's very committed to the students and the student experience.
I'm George Kraw. My wife, Rafe, and I
are sponsoring these series of lectures in order to showcase the wonderful work that's being done by technologists and scientists at UC Santa Cruz.
George Kraw has this tremendous capacity for curiosity about the world, and he wants to make sure that in whatever discipline he's curious about, he's bringing that back to UCSC and to a wider community audience.
What I try to do with my gifts now is to spark further activity, further support, and these are the glues that holds the college together and help connect the generations of the college.
We are so fortunate to have alumni like George, alumni who understand our campus values and our history. George has spoken eloquently about the impact his UC Santa Cruz education has had on his life. It's incredibly powerful that he's taken upon himself to see that others have that same experience.
Please join me in welcoming George Kraw.
When I came to Santa Cruz in 1967, I was very young. I just turned 18. And now I'm rather old. But I like to think that what I'm doing and working with so many wonderful people here keeps me going. And I also like to think that I'm not done yet, that I have much that I can help the school with. And continuing on. And I'd like to, as part of this, I'd like to recognize tonight some of the people that are attending that have worked with me. First, my original rugby coach, Dave Dorfan, is here. And just to continue, both the head coach and assistant coach, Jeremy Sanford and Guido Bourdion are also here tonight. And the thing that connects all three of these is that these gentlemen are all full-time faculty members. They're all scientists. Dave was a physicist. Jeremy and Guido teach genomics. And it was one of the things that I found remarkable in my early days at school, that we were being taught by, not by athletic personnel, but just by people academics who gave of their time, helped us put together that initial team. I'd also like to recognize Alan Christie and Faye Crosby, the current provost and prior provost of Cowell College. I'm actually working with them now to put together a course for students. It'll be a college course. It'll involve faculty, it'll involve alumni. They'll be talking about, the name of the course is Designing Your Life, and the alumni involvement will be to tell experiences, both good, bad, and different. They will be interacting with the students. I'm very excited about this. I think this will be a tremendous opportunity, not just for the students, but to re-engage our many Cowell alumni. So finally, I'd just like to thank all of you for this award tonight. It means a tremendous amount to me. Again, thank you very much.
Thank you, Neroli, Kamari, Keith, Jacob, and George for being with us tonight, sharing your passions with us, and bringing us together to celebrate the best of UC Santa Cruz. Please join Chancellor Reeve and me, and one more round of applause for this outstanding group. It has been my sincere privilege to pay tribute to these incredible honorees. To each of you, let me say that UC Santa Cruz takes great pride in your accomplishments, and we are delighted to count you as members of the UCSC community. I'd also like to thank the really wonderful unsung heroes, as Dr. Clarke mentioned, who make this night possible. First, my incredible alumni engagement team. Those are in the room. Please stand up. Get up, get up, get up. And our university events staff for helping plan this evening's event. They're over there, university events staff. Of course, our dedicated campus catering and learning technology who make tonight possible. But Dr. Clarke said it for me, this night would not be possible without the incredible dedication of Barbara Oden-Petrie, who helps make this night possible. Barbara, stand up. I know the honorees know that Barbara spends every minute thinking about this program from the time that this ends tonight till next year. She's already got to start thinking about it. So I cannot thank her enough. So tonight's a party. So let's go out into the rotunda, have some dessert, take some photos, and enjoy the rest of the night. Thank you for being here. We'll see you soon.